Um, Hey, how's it going? This is Rob from Justin's Toys, and today I'm going to teach you how to make this bracelet right here. I call it the Flower Burst. Some people say it's the more advanced version of the Starburst. Whatever you want to call it is fine, but this is how it looks. And it's an advanced bracelet. There's a high risk of you breaking your hooks, so if you don't know how to make the Starburst, I'd recommend you learn how to make that first before proceeding with this, because a lot of the looping is similar. And also pay attention to the suggestions for how to loop, because that will minimize your chance of broken hooks. So without wasting your time any further, yes, this can be done on one loom, and I'm going to show you how. It does require 2 or 1 transfer depending on how big your wrist is. So here I have my loom, and it's actually going to use the same exact setup as how the loom comes in the kit. So first thing I'm going to do is pick the border colors. I'm actually going to do each one of these links independently so that it's going to come out kind of rainbow, and my links in between are going to be clear. Alright, so since my in-between colors are going to be clear, the first rubber band that I'm going to put on is going to connect this peg and this peg. But the trick is, every single rubber band in this bracelet is capped. Okay? And by capped, I mean you take 2 index fingers and you turn one, and then you bring your 1 index finger back through that loop. And that's how you perfectly cap a band. And this first band is going to connect those two, like I said. And then I'm going to start my next star, and in this case I'm going to have a yellow border and a neon orange inside. So again, I'm capping this band, and I'm going to create the left border, then go back to the beginning and create the right border. Alright, capped bands. Alright, back to the beginning. Now the right border. Cap band. Alright, so I'm going to push down a little bit on all 6 sides. And then now I'm going to fill in the inside, and that is going to be a neon orange. And just like the Starburst, starting at 2 o'clock. So if this arrow was at 6 o'clock, 2 o'clock is around there. If you don't know where to start, just lift your right hand and point it out on an angle. And that's 2 o'clock. So again, it's a cap band. It's going to start right here. And then I am going to work clockwise. So I'm going down and around from this 2 o'clock. And I'm applying bands on all 6 of those pegs. Alright, push down in the center if it gets too congested. Alright, so there you have it. I'm done with my first star. And what I'm going to do now is, again, go back to my clear, cap it, and then connect these next 2 pegs right here. Alright, then I am going to go back to my next star border color, which is going to be red. Cap it again, and then start making the perimeter of that star on the left. Okay, now that I'm done with that left side, go back to the beginning of that star and create the perimeter of the right. Remember, these are all cap bands. Okay, and now I'm going to fill the center in with cap bands, again starting at 2 o'clock, working my way down and around. Push down if you have to. Okay, again, I'm going back to my clear to connect to the next star. And now my border is going to be teal. And the inside of this star is going to be neon green. So again at 2 o'clock. Okay, back to clear. And then my next star is going to have a blue border . And the inside's going to be purple. Always make sure you start at 2 o'clock. Alright, now you want to grab this link color, so the same color of the band that you started with, and you want to triple cap it. So 1, 2. Now this rubber band is triple cap. This is very hard, so I would advise everyone that's doing this to try this a couple of times until you know for sure that you did it right. And that's how you triple cap it. So there's going to be 3 ends on each side if you're holding it, and you're going to put that over that last center peg. I'm just going to double check it, make sure it's triple cap. And the reason you triple cap it is because that's going to make it so that you clip it perfectly. And it's not perfect, but it looks the most appealing to me if you triple cap it. Alright, and now you're also going to grab the same color of the center of all of these stars. So this one's purple. You're also going to triple cap it, 1, 2, 3, and put it over that center peg. Okay, so neon green. Triple cap it. And put it over that center peg. Pink. 1, 2, 3. And put it over that center peg. And then neon orange. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. My setup is complete. I don't have to put any more bands on. Now I'm going to turn the loom and I can begin looping. But remember this setup because you're actually going to have to recreate this whole entire thing again. Alright, so now you want to grab your hook, and the first thing you want to do is get in front of that triple looped band right there that you put on in the end, and you are identifying these purples right here. And you're grabbing only these 2 purples, and you're bringing it up and over this center peg right here. I'm going to push down all the way so it's going to be least likely to fall off. And after I get in front of those clears and I grab those 2 purples, I'm going to hold this clear down and then bring these 2 purples up and over. Alright, that's probably the hardest step in this whole entire thing. Alright, next, there's a triple cap purple here. You have to get in front of that triple cap purple and grab this band. So I'm going in front of that, right there, pulling up a little bit. That's going to unloosen this one right here. And I'm going to grab this because I know this is the same as this outside rubber band. Then I'm going to get around this corner, and then I'm going to bring it over this peg. It's very important that when you're bringing up these rubber bands that you're turning the hook. You want to get used to rotating this hook in the direction that you're pulling the rubber band. So in this case, I'm going in front of this triple capped rubber band, and I'm going to identify this band right here. As you can see, I just grabbed it right there, and you'll see how I'm getting around this corner, but I am rotating my hook in the direction that I am pulling the rubber band, and that's going to make it the least likely for it to slip. Alright, now right here, this part, it gets kind of easy after the first 2, because what you can do is you can take your hook, just go here in this gap and just grab this. That way you know for sure. Because what we want to do is identify these bands And you can do so by just going in there and grabbing it and then pulling it out. Again, make sure that you are rotating your hook. You want to get around this corner right here. This corner right here. And then bring it up. And then over. Alright, next you want to go in there and identify these bands. I'm just going to go around there. And then bring it up. And over. Okay. And then last one is the easiest because there's only one left. Bring that up and over. And there you go. You're going to know that you did this right if all of these ends, these 5 ends right here, are independent of each other. So they're not crossing at all. And none of the rubber bands are touching this center peg. That's how you know you haven't made an error. Alright. Now that all 5 sides are done, you're going back to the beginning. Again, going in front of this triple cap clear band, but you want to identify whichever rubber band is on top. So as you can see, there's this rubber band on the right, which clearly is on the bottom, and this one that's on top. And you just want to go in front of that triple cap band and grab the 2 ends of the top rubber band. So this one on the left, and you bring it up. You might want to hold down on that clear, that way it doesn't slip again. And then bring it up and over itself. And then next you are going to go in here, go in front of all of those bands and grab just those bottom 2 blues. Get around those corners, bring it up and over. Again, this side right here, you can just push down so that it's easier to identify. Get in front of all of those bands. Grab those 2 blues on the bottom. Get around these corners. And as you can see, I'm rotating my hook in the direction that I'm pulling the bands. And there you go. Once you get up to here, the top of the star, you're back to the beginning. Back in front of that triple cap clear. Grab those 2 blues, get around those corners, bring it up and over. And then on this side, you can just push down, so you'll see that these are the bottoms. Get in front of all of those bands, except those bottom 2. Bring that up, get around those corners. Oh, I messed up. Okay, let's say that happens. What you want to do in this situation, if it slips off, is you want to take your hook, put it in, turn it around so it's in the opposite direction, then pull these 2 ends back up, and then turn your hook back, bring it up, then turn it around, and then bring it up and over. Alright, and that means I just fixed my error right there. Okay, next you see these 2 bands on the bottom. You want to go in front of all the bands on top. Grab those 2, get around those corners, and then bring it up and over. Alright, there you go. My first star is done. And now I want to go in front of all of these bands and grab those 2 bottom clears and bring it up and over itself. And just like how I did this whole entire star, it's going to be the same exact thing with this star. I'm starting with these 2 neon greens. I'm only grabbing those. I'm not grabbing anything under it. It's just 2 neon green ends. Okay. Once I got both ends, get around those corners, bring it up and over. And then again in front of this triple capped neon green, Okay, make sure you're in front of all three ends of this triple cat. Then you have to identify this band. Alright, so did so. Get those two ends, get around that edge. Might have to tug a little bit because there's a lot of tension. And then once you do so, bring it over. Right, next I'm identifying these. This one's going to be a little easier because there's a little gap created. Get around that corner. Okay, this is where there's a high risk of breaking hooks. I'm not going to tug like this. Alright, I'm going to tug so this is almost flat. If there was a piece of paper or a book on top of here, I'm aligning this hook with that piece of paper. And then I am tugging until it loosens itself out. And then I'm bringing it over. Alright? I'm not pulling it like this. Straight. Then I'm going in this gap. And then I'm grabbing those two ends. Again. Okay, make sure you have both ends. Get around that corner. And then this, for some reason, not all rubber bands are created equal. Some of them have more tension than others. Then I'm going back in that gap, grabbing those two ends, bring it up. Okay, tugging a little bit, up and over, and then again, right here, bring it up and over. So I'm done with the center of the star, and I'm going back to the beginning. Remember, identify which one's on top, so you can use your hands to adjust it. Make sure the top is on the top and the bottom is on the bottom, and grab just the top and none of the other bands. Okay, so I got those two. Bring it up. Yep. You see I got more than just two ends. I got part of the other one. So I gotta bring that back down. There we go. Just make sure that those are, yep, that's right. I'm bringing this side up. Going back over here. Grabbing those two. Bring these two ends up. So this is an example of very high tension where bands are susceptible to breaking. Okay. Going in front of all these bands, grabbing those two bottom teals, getting around those corners, bringing it up and over. Alright, and that was the last one. So what we can do now is we can actually remove this whole thing from the loom, and this Gets kind of tricky, but if you follow my instructions, you won't snap any bands. You have to use your hook in order to remove all these bands from this loom, and you're going to start from this center bottom one. You're holding your hook like this and you're pulling straight back. You're not going at an angle or like that, okay? You're just pulling straight and then up a little bit. So pull it, bring it up, okay? Pull it, bring it up over that edge. Alright, pull it, bring it over, pull it, bring it over, pull it, bring it over. And it's a must that you follow this, because if you just try to pull it off normally, you will snap bands. Okay. So I'm gonna pull it off all the way up until here. So I'm gonna keep my thumb on top of that while I'm pulling it off. Alright, once you get to there, you're going to take your hook and you're going to put it through this top peg so that you have both ends of that clear, and then you're going to pull it off by pulling that around, and there you go. Now just pull a little bit and you have your first 4 stars complete. Now, just like I did before, you can actually replay this whole entire video and you are going to fill up this whole entire loom again, exactly in the same way that you did the first time. Alright, so again, turning the whole entire loom around, cap band clear, first to second. Alright, first star yellow on the outside, so border on the left. Alright. Border on the right. And then center of the star, starting at 2 o'clock. Down and around. And then clear. Okay, and then start your next band, which is red on the outside. And I will be back after this whole loom is filled. Okay, so unlike the first setup, I am not putting a triple capped one here. I'm putting the triple capped one still in the center of the stars. So 1, 2, 3. Center purple. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Center neon. Green. Next down. 1, 2, 3. Center pink. And then 1, 2, 3. Center neon orange. Alright, now I'm going to transfer this back onto here, and I'm going to do so by turning the loom around, and then these two clear bands, all these ends of this clear band is going to go on top of that peg right there. So I'm going to pull it to the end with the hook, and then I am going to reapply this back on by getting on that corner and then bring it up and over. Okay, so all 4 ends are on this peg now, as you can see, and now I am going to go in front of all 4 of these pegs, and I'm going to grab that purple and only that purple. So I'm going to push down on everything else and grab those 2 purples, bring it around those corners, up and over. And just like how I was doing before, I'm just going to go in front of that triple cap purple and identify those 2 purples right there. I'm working counterclockwise. I am grabbing those purples from inside of that triple cap. Okay. Again. Get around those corners. Over itself. Alright, now I'm back at the beginning. Again, identify which one's on top and which one's on the bottom. Left is on top, so I'm pulling this back and grabbing just those 2 rubber bands on top. Alright, and I'm going to continue this to the end. Alright, there you go. Last clear band right here. Get in front of all these bands and grab those two bottom clears. Bring it up around those corners and over itself. And that is definitely the last one. And at this point, I'm going to grab a C-clip, clip all four ends right here. Alright, I'm just going to take a C-clip and from the top push down and bring it around. So I got all four ends right there. Alright, and just like I did before, using your hook, go in and pull these bands off one by one. Again, not at an angle. You are pulling like that. Okay? So grab all of them, pull it all, Loom. Okay, and since I have this unclipped here, I can just pull this really hard off and then pull this off as well. Alright, and there you have it. That is complete. And now what I want to do is I want to clip all three ends of this one triple cap rubber band back onto the clip. So as you can see, it's a smaller than normal bracelet. This is for kids, but if you require it to be longer, just follow the steps on reapplying the bands onto the loom and then transferring again. Alright, and there you have it. That is the flower burst.